Ladies and gentlemen, we all agree that with interest rates so low and the economy being down, it's a buyer's market. Unfortunately, there are people who have lost their jobs and they are now forced to sell their properties. Most of them are getting below market value for their properties because they have not done maintenance, and savvy property buyers are negotiating lower prices. I am going to show you what maintenance to do, which will not bankrupt you, but will improve the way buyers look at your property. I will prove to you that maintenance is much cheaper than you think. And most of all, I will guide you on how to do maintenance. I believe that most homeowners don't do maintenance because they don't know how to do maintenance and they don't know when to do maintenance. They are so confused about all the products available that often they use the wrong product. If you do not maintain, you will complain. I am Marisha Robus. I have 12 years construction experience and 8 years property inspection experience. I have acquired my knowledge in the field and not from a textbook. I'm the owner of Gauteng Property Inspections, and I'm an ABISA certified master inspector. I have done numerous maintenance inspections for a variety of clients, such as private homeowners, sectional title complexes, property investors, commercial and industrial companies, to name but a few. I recently handed over a set of comprehensive maintenance reports to the Vietnamese embassy. I inspected 3 properties for them: the embassy, the ambassador's residence, and staff accommodation. The reports totaled more than 480 pages. And here I am handing them over to the ambassador of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, Mr. Wong Von Loy. Mr. Pham Chong, the first secretary of the Vietnamese embassy, was very satisfied with the comprehensive reports. He forwarded them to the Vietnamese government for approval of funds to start with the maintenance. A maintenance inspection of a commercial property is much easier when there's a forklift to put me on top of the roof. It is very important to inspect the roof trusses of a property properly. Preventative maintenance is much cheaper than having to replace the roof. I'm an ITC certified roof inspector, one of only 40 in the country. I love roof trusses. Aren't these trusses just beautiful? You get an owner's manual for almost everything you buy. You get one for your car, for your computer, and you even get a manual for your husband. But when you buy a home, which is probably the biggest investment you will ever make, you are told nothing more than pay the bond, pay the rates and taxes, and pay the utilities. And you have absolutely no idea what to do. The Proud Homeowner comes to the rescue. It is a manual for homeowners. In it, you will find information on how to supervise the site when you are building a new house. You will get interesting information on the do's and don'ts of alterations. There are entire chapters on damp, cracks, and the roof, and a chapter on maintenance. Order your copy today at proudhomeowner.co.za. What is maintenance? Maintenance is prolonging the life of capital assets by minimizing the rate of wear and tear. If you are not able to do the maintenance yourself, then get acquainted with the process or employ somebody to do it. It is the same as with your car. You do not neglect the maintenance on your car just because you cannot service your car yourself. You could save money and keep the building in a good condition by keeping a watchful eye on the following items. The roof. Autumn is a very beautiful season and the temperatures are lower. The most important thing to do in autumn is to remove the leaves from all the roofs before the rainy season starts. These leaves are causing the water to pond. And to start with, this waterproofing has not been maintained regularly. I can guarantee you that this waterproofing is going to deteriorate faster. To remove these leaves from the roof will cost about 50 Rand of your gardener's wages. But to replace the waterproofing on this specific roof would be in excess of 50,000 Rand. Flat roofs are normally waterproofed with Derby gum, a torch-on product, and you get a 10-year guarantee. But the guarantee very clearly states that the waterproofing must be maintained annually. I always recommend to my clients to get the company who installed the Derby gum to maintain it annually. Then they have to honor their guarantee. Or you can paint it annually with silver reflective paint. These brown spots are an indication of where water ponds. Please realize that this is where the waterproofing is going to deteriorate first. Climb on top of your roof. Have a look at what is going on there. Or if you are scared of heights, let me do a maintenance inspection for you. Do not leave this mess like this. The moss is growing, water is ponding in the geyser tray, and the geyser has started to rust from the bottom. This is going to be very expensive to repair. This seller declared that the cottage had a roof leak. He had no idea where the roof leak was coming from, but he never climbed on top of the roof. This is very clear why this roof is leaking. The valleys are totally blocked by leaves. The water has got nowhere else to go but push in under the roof tiles. Please remember, if you have a roof leak and you want to claim from the insurance company and they climb on top of the roof and they see this, they will not consider your claim. You have to do regular maintenance in order for insurance to consider your claim. I regularly find valleys that were waterproofed, but can you see how the leaves and debris are still getting stuck in the valley? This will mean that the water will still not flow away freely, and it will push over the waterproofing and under the roof tiles, and you will still have roof leaks. This is what a closed and an open valley should look like. I strongly recommend that you cut your valleys open. It is much easier to prevent roof leaks like that. Sprockets and brand ring. It is very important to treat the sprockets and brand ring of the house regularly, at least every second year. To treat the sprockets and brand ring on an average 3-bedroom house will cost you between 4,500 and 5,500 Rand. But to replace 40% of the sprockets on the same house will be in excess of 60,000 Rand. To me, it is really a no-brainer to rather pay 5,500 Rand every second year than 60,000 Rand. My client offered 100,000 Rand less on this property because of the rotten timber. Imagine if the seller had only spent 5,500 Rand. He would have not lost 100,000 Rand on this sale. This is why it is expensive to repair the broken sprockets. You have to remove the rotten timber. Then you fit a new piece of timber and it has to overlap double the distance that it was protruding. So at least 600 millimeters. You have to bolt it and then nail it in a zigzag pattern at intervals of 150 millimeters. And immediately treat the old and the new timber. Keep an eye on the undertile plastic. It does disintegrate over time. If this is how your roof looks, please rest assured that you are going to have a lot more dust on your ceiling and you could have some roof leaks. My client nearly fell off his chair when he got my maintenance report and he saw that his roof trusses had been burned. You can see that new undertile plastic has been fitted, but the roof trusses had not been replaced. After prodding the estate agent admitted that there had been a fire in the house before. My client had no recourse because the seller had immigrated to New Zealand the year before. If only he had inspected the property before he bought it, he would have known that he was in for a big bill in replacing a couple of these roof trusses. A lot of my clients ask me, how does the sand end up in gutters? The wind blows sand and dust onto the roof. When it rains, this washes down into the gutters, and it will stay there until you remove it with a hose pipe. This sand now allows the seeds of plants and weeds to grow in the gutters. This will cause the water to pond even more, and the gutters will start to rust. I can guarantee you that these gutters will rust through within a year. The cost of a gardener to clean the gutters is about 150 Rand, including his wages and the water. The cost to replace the gutters on a normal 3-bedroom house is approximately 15,000 Rand. The decision is yours. Clean the gutters or replace them. But you have a further choice. A savvy property buyer will argue that it will cost more in the region of 25,000 Rand to replace the gutters and argue the price down. Here's a tip. It's not necessary to climb on top of your roof once a month to check whether the gutters are blocked. If a downpipe drips slowly long after the rain has stopped, then it is a sign that the gutter is blocked. This is not a beautiful piece of artwork, but a rusted downpipe. These gutters and downpipes were obviously totally blocked for a very long time, and eventually they rusted through. Although this is a beautiful picture, this is not what you want to see on your house. Rising damp is a nightmare. It is very, very ugly and very expensive to repair. It creates a very bad impression, and it keeps on coming back if you do not repair it. When you see rising damp beginning like this, address it immediately. Do not wait until it has reached this stage. You as a homeowner cannot prevent this. This damage was caused by an incompetent builder who did not build the house according to national building regulations and NHBRC guidelines. And you are now in for a huge expense to repair this. Employ a professional company to repair, not patch this. Ensure that the damp-proofing company has been in business for more than 10 years. They all will give you a guarantee for 10 years, but a lot of them close their business after 5 years and then open up under another name, just so that they do not have to honor the guarantees they issued nilly-willy. Please ensure that when you have a house built, that the building contractor installs the DPC correctly. The DPC must protrude 10 millimeters and the plaster must not be continuous. This is a drawing out of the Proud Homeowner and is also the drawing that is in the NHBRC manual as well as national building regulations. Ensure that the builder builds your house like this. Stormwater is normally only taken into account when you have a flood. Look at the slope of your garden. Is there enough outlets for the stormwater? The law states that the lower stand must accept the stormwater from the higher stand. But you cannot expect your neighbor to accept all your stormwater. You have to make provision for some of your stormwater handling as well. Do not close weep holes. Water creates a lot of pressure on boundary walls, and I have seen numerous boundary walls that have been pushed over by stormwater. Building regulations require that the paving slopes away from the house. It is very obvious that this builder did not know his national building regulations and also did not construct this house according to national building regulations. The insurance company will not consider a claim if your house was not built according to national building regulations and if you have not made proper provision for stormwater, and more importantly, if you have not made provision for that 1 in 100 year storm. Please go and read the fine print of your insurance document. These are crazing cracks, not dried out mud. Did you know that there are 15 different types of cracks? The secret with the crack is to ensure that it has settled, that it is a static crack and not a live crack anymore. Wait for the cracks to settle and then you can repair them. Do not use the first crack filler that comes to mind. I unfortunately do not have time to explain all the different cracks and how to repair, not patch them, but you will find more than enough information in the Proud Homeowner. These are mapping cracks, most often found on boundary walls. If only this seller waterproofed the parapet walls on top, these ugly cracks could have been prevented and he would have received a higher price for his house. The entire outside of the house looked like this, and my client offered 200,000 Rand less because of these cracks. This is a structural crack. The easy way to identify a structural crack is that it is bigger on the one side than on the other side. The bigger side is where the crack started. This building is moving in the directions of the arrows, and it was caused by subsiding foundations. Another point to please note is that insurance companies do not pay for subsidence of foundations. It is very expensive to repair structural cracks, and it is going to be for your own account. Please remember with cracks, identify the crack first. Make sure it is not a live crack anymore, that it is static, and then repair it as per instructions in the Proud Homeowner. Please don't panic if you can't remember it all. I can do a maintenance inspection for you. My reports go into a lot of detail, and you will know which items are important, which items are urgent, and which items you must do every 3, 4, or 5 years. I would like to give you a few more tips on maintenance. Outside doors must be treated annually with a good oil-based product, not a varnish. But most importantly, what you must remember is that any door has 6 sides to it. It does not only have the front and the back. You must treat both sides, the top and the bottom as well. Water ingress at the bottom causes damage such as this, and then you have to replace the doors. Garage doors must also be treated on all 6 sides. Garage doors are very expensive to replace, and treating garage doors is definitely not as expensive. Do not leave your steel window frames until they have rusted through. Paint them regularly with a good quality enamel paint. Some enamel paints come with a 12-year guarantee. I would much prefer to paint my steel window frames every 12 years than use a no-name brand paint and paint it every year or 2. Please also remember to strip all the paint from the window frames every 5 painting cycles. Otherwise, the paint becomes so thick on the window frames that you cannot close the windows after a while. Maintenance was so much cheaper than to replace this kitchen unit. A tube of silicone is about 150 Rand, but to replace this zinc unit is now going to cost in the region of 3,500 Rand. Once a year, replace the silicone around the zinc unit, the basins, the bath, the shower. Set a date in your calendar. In our household, the first weekend of June is Silicone Day. You have to weigh up your options. Are you going to do maintenance, or are you going to replace items at a much higher cost? Do you now believe me that maintenance is much cheaper than replacing items? You will benefit from our knowledge and experience. Book your maintenance inspection today. Click on the link below for your free download on what to look out for when viewing a property, as well as a maintenance guide. We will then also let you know when our maintenance course is available. I appreciate your time, and I trust that you have learned a few tricks on how to do maintenance on your property and how to ensure that when you sell your property, you get a higher price. Thank you.